Newcastle United got their first victory of their Premier League campaign in a 1-0 victory against Wolverhampton Wanderers, but the highlight of the game was the debut performance of Nick Woltemade. In this video, we're going to be analysing Voltoarda's performance, highlighting key aspects of his game that he brings to Newcastle, and ultimately explaining why he is the perfect fit for Eddie Howe's Newcastle. When I think about Newcastle United and the way that they play, two things among many really do come to mind. The first is really dynamic wide play, fast, pacey wingers with the ability to cross the ball but also make dynamic runs going forwards. The second is the way that they utilise movement to be able to link up with each other and then progress the ball forwards as a unit. Voltoarda is perfect in this instance because he's able to drop deep and link up with that midfield trio of Tonali, Joelinton and Bruno Guimaraes, then allowing for them to go forwards and progress it through into the wingers, whether it be from out to in runs or even utilising momentum down one of the flanks. It's then progressing the ball forwards and allowing them to create those passing triangles that give Newcastle that iconic rotation down both the left and right hand side. Voltoarda linking the play brings everything together and almost allows for that Newcastle midfield to then start to be a little bit more aggressive and progress themselves forward. It's then about finding those crosses into the box and making sure that you're making the best possible use of his physical attributes, and that is exactly what Newcastle have managed to do in this game against Wolves. And this is exactly the kind of moment that really highlights what I'm talking about. You've got Voltoarda here being pressurised by the Wolves centre-back. You have two midfielders in Tonali and Guimaraes, but what Voltoarda does so well is he drops into this space. And it's in dropping into this space that allows and frees up both Tonali and Guimaraes to move into different positions. The moment that Voltoarda receives the pass, look at him, he's asking for the ball right here. The moment he receives the pass, he now has better options. It gives the midfielders for Newcastle the ability to move in space, shuffling around those Wolves defenders. So although Voltoarda isn't able to go forwards because of the aggression of that Wolves centre-back, it gives Newcastle the better ability to then move the ball forwards. It gives an option because of the moving of Hugo Bueno here, because of the way that Tonali moves. It gives an option for Jacob Murphy out on that right hand side, and all of a sudden you start to see that progression. Bruno Guimaraes gets the ball back, he moves it over towards the right hand side, and Newcastle start to progress forwards due to that great movement from Voltoarda and the willingness for him to be that buffer to allow Newcastle to go forwards. But is he resting on that? No, not at all. Is he just getting himself into the box? No, he links with play extremely well, and in fact I thought this was really interesting. Of course you've got Joelinton wanting to go up and be their aerial presence, but that box midfield that a lot of teams utilised I found really interesting with the way that Newcastle played forwards. You've got Tonali, you've got Guimaraes, and you've got Voltoarda and Joelinton looking to go forwards. It just created a good balance for the side, and that's the balance that Voltoarda brings. The ball gets played down the right hand side and Voltoarda makes a brilliant run through into that channel, again creating those passing lanes, creating the ability for Newcastle to go forward, but allowing that rotation. He picks up the ball, again recycles the ball back. It's this kind of movement off the ball and the play and heads up awareness of these players that allow them to create an opportunity. The ball gets played into Jacob Murphy. Bruno Guimaraes makes a run off the ball. Voltoarda's holding on to the centre-back, and it allows for Newcastle to create a dynamic chance which falls to Voltoarda in the end. Of course, he doesn't manage to convert it, but the movement is absolutely fantastic, and it creates so many good, different opportunities. His vision, link-up, and awareness are key attributes towards this Newcastle side. This is yet another example. Here you've got Tonali just receiving the pass. He's going to pass over towards Livramento, and Livramento is going to spin. He needs help. He's going down an alley at this point. He's going to be faced by a Wolves defender and he needs to get out. So what have you got? You've got Voltoarda dropping. He's dropped out of that striker's role to give him, his teammate, the best possible ability to move forwards. It gets a pass into this inside channel, and then once he receives it, what have you got? The moment he receives that pass, it's a cue towards Harvey Barnes to start to make a run in beyond. He sprints round, tries to make that curving run to stay onside, and Voltoarda picks his head up, has the ability to play the pass over, just lifting it over the top. It's a great attempt to try and find Harvey Barnes, who's obviously on the run. Really good movement, and it's this link-up play that will be crucial for Newcastle going forwards into their upcoming games. It is sensational, a brilliant piece of play, and obviously it allows Barnes to go forwards. find that space and then try to be that little bit more dynamic. Of course, it gets called offside, but that link-up play is there, and it is absolutely sensational. He is perfect for this Newcastle system. And then there was how Newcastle were able to break down this Wolves side. 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, 2 up front, a difficult defensive unit to try and move about. So what Newcastle did was overloaded certain parts of the pitch to enable them to have a numerical advantage to get better opportunities into the box. Voltoarda was a key aspect of this in the way that Joelinton moved forwards to be their aerial presence, but Voltoarda moving into that right-hand channel to link with Murphy, to link with Bruno Guimaraes, Kieran Trippier, it allowed for those overloads coming forwards down both flanks while having that dominating presence in midfield. A numerical advantage of almost 4 players towards Wolves' 3 gave them the opportunity to then move the ball down the flanks. It was then a case of Joelinton and Voltoarda pushing that Wolves back line just a few yards back, giving themselves the ability to move into the box, then creating those 1v1 situations in an aerial sense to be able to get themselves into those great creating opportunities. Crosses into the box need to be brilliant, and of course you have those 2 powerful, aerially strong players able to convert those chances. But then, of course, you've got the goal. You need him to score goals. He is your striker for a reason, and that's exactly what he does. Notice he's obviously in the middle of the box. He's jostling for position with a Wolves defender, but just out on that far right-hand side, what have you got? You've got that Newcastle game plan, the overloading of certain situations. You've got the ability for them to overload different avenues. You've got 3v2 on the flank, essentially, at this point, and it just makes it so much more difficult for Wolves to try and compete with. If the ball goes back to Tonali, it gets pressurized by the Wolves player, who goes back over towards Jacob Murphy, who is then able to drive forwards. That 1v1 situation has now been created, but while all this is happening, just notice Voltoarda. He's really ready to receive a cross. His body position is really good, not necessarily too flat on, and it gives himself the ability to find himself in a good pocket of space in just a moment. The ball is about to be whipped in by Jacob Murphy, but we're going to focus on Voltoarda, of course. He just managed to get the sprint onto the Wolves defender. He's strong, he's powerful, but he's tall as well, and he's got great aerial presence. The ball has been whipped in towards Voltoarda, and he has the composure, he has the awareness, and he has that physical aerial strength to be able to get his head onto it pretty brilliantly. It is a bullet header which rockets into that top left-hand corner. It is a fantastic finish, and his link-up play, his ability to hold the ball up, his goal-scoring ability just makes him the perfect addition to this Newcastle United side. But of course, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you make of Voltoarda? How well do you think he's going to do in the Newcastle shirt? And what do you think his standard is, and what do you think his ceiling is going into the future? I'd love to hear from you, so please do get involved. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something new, and hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.